Hi there, my friends. It's been a while. Life is being life, but I actually was working on notes for a series of videos I was going to do, similar to the Shadow Work series, and it's turned into a much bigger thing than I thought it was going to be. So it's not going to be a series of videos. Hopefully soon I'll be able to tell you what it is going to be, but it's sort of thrown my my plan for working on my book and other things into a little bit of chaos. And that's why I haven't been making as many videos, because the whole series I thought I was going to make, I probably won't. But you'll still have access to what I'm working on. So, this is something that I have wanted to do a video about for a while, and am having a moment to sit down today and do it. So this is going to be, this probably will be fairly short. It's a little unusual for my channel. This is the Milagro Oracle by Carrie Paris, and this is a charm casting kit. And this was something that we did as a workshop at the Reader Studio, and this is where I got it. Now you can get it on her website. It's not inexpensive. We did get a little bit of a discount on it at Reader Studio, but you can, I believe, still get it. These, you know, what I've learned is that charms are expensive. I mean, I was somewhere recently and I saw similar charms. Each one was about $4 or $5. So, you know, they are costly, and there's a bunch in here. Now, of course, you can make your own kit. Many people have. I wouldn't have even known where to start. And so it was nice to have this as a introduction to it, and I really liked it. So I'm going to show you what we've got, and then just a little bit about how she taught us to use it. I won't go through the whole thing. I do believe when you do get the set, you get a sheet that sort of tells you more about it and how to work with it. But I don't want to like give away the store. So in essence, it's this tin of charms, and then there's a spread cloth, which I really like, and it comes in this little mesh bag. And the spread cloth is really beautiful. And the one thing about spread cloths like this is that it's very gauzy, and I find that it can be a little, I don't have that way, be a little sort of frustrating for me when I'm trying to like pick things up and move them around, and it gets caught in my fingers and whatnot. But it's really beautifully designed. And then there are the charms. And these are based on Milagro charms, which are common, I believe, in Mexico. But this is not authentic in that sense. It's inspired by Milagro charms, which are used for various things. And so there's another little mesh bag in the tin with many, many, many little charms. And they are inspired by a sort of array of things. So you have a heart, there's a bird, there's a man and a woman, both of them are skulls. So, you know, it's going to be hard to see. Whoops, gosh. It's going to be hard to see. I'm always sort of navigating through a tripod here. But the nice thing about it is that it reminds me a little bit of Sibylla in that you look at the object and what its function is, and the context of what you're doing, and you use the charm to sort of interpret that. Now, what she did with us at the Reader Studio was about sort of setting an intention to transform ourselves, to transform something in our lives into something else. And so we did a combination of intentionally chosen charms and randomly chosen charms. And that was really exciting. But the other thing that was exciting for me was that it was done in combination with tarot cards. So we used cards and the charms and the the spread cloth for a really cool reading experience. And again, I think you'll get notes from her when you purchase the deck, but you can use this in different ways. I mean, you could sort of, I'm not going to throw the charms because I don't want to make a mess, honestly, but you know, you could throw them all, you could cast some, and you could say, you know, here in the middle of the thing, like, what am I seeing now? I've got my eyes on the prize and on my dreams, and the things that give me life, and you know, what do I need to rejoice in? I have the sun and the rose. What does that mean to me? What do I need to align? I've got the eye and the tree, and I think this is a tombstone. Yeah. and a horseshoe. So, you could sort of use the whole, what do I want to manifest? I've got the angel around there and the lips, so you could sort of use them that way. But the other thing that we did was we, see, this is why I'm not in love with gauzy gauzy spread cloths, and why I actually don't use spread cloths for reading generally. See, that's not what I wanted to do. As a clumsy, klutzy person, you can see why I'm not naturally... here's a cell phone. So they're modern, it's not just old things. It's new things, and old things, a shoe and a fire hat, and you can interpret them however you want to. So one thing that we did was we used a combination of cards and charms. So we intentionally drew, but you could do it randomly. Like, what's the thing I want to deal with right now? And so you can draw randomly, and here's a piggy bank, right? So I want to focus on money, or focus on my savings, so to speak. Right, and then you have the diamonds here. So you've got hearts, diamonds, clubs, spades and clubs, sorry. I've gotten so used to tarot, I've actually forgotten what the names of the suits are on cards. And so one thing we did was, we randomly drew one for each. And we used it based on the elemental associations. So, in cups, we would draw a charm, and there's the baby carriage. So I would say, what do I need to take care of emotionally? And then in diamonds, I've got the fire hat. So maybe what do I need to defend or protect in my in my creative life. I've got the book in spades. So what do I need to learn? And then I've got this little cup in clubs. And so what do I need to sort of imbibe in practically? And then we would draw a card then to represent each, this deck isn't shuffled, but each suit. I just did a reading with this. So then we would sort of read in tandem. So I need to nurture and care for justice in my emotional life. I need to protect the state of my mental health when it comes to my creative life. So I need to be on the defense creatively, that my creative life isn't having a negative impact. Let me zoom out a little bit. I don't think I can get the whole thing in here, but learning in the hermit, and then the Eight of Swords with the clubs and the cup. So I need to imbibe in some more intellectual stimulation in my daily life, for example. Right, and then so we did that, and then there are these words around. So you've got engage, love, devote, bless, and I'm trying to remember exactly how we did it, but I think you might. Like toss a few things around there. I don't quite remember how we did that, but again, it's really up to you. So you could draw a charm for each of those. What we did do too is that around the circle, so we have these words like succeed, awaken, manifest, conceal, nurture, reign, minister, connect. So we actually drew a card for each of those words all the way around. So it became a very large spread with a lot of cards and a lot of tokens. And so, I have the High Priestess with Restore, the Queen of Pentacles with Inspire, the Chariot with Imagine, Three of Pentacles with Succeed. So you can go around the circle and sort of really do a lot of depth with just some very simple things, with these very simple tokens and a tarot deck, or really you could use an oracle deck or anything. Probably a smaller deck would work nicely. Actually, when I did this at the Reader Studio, I was using the World Spirit deck, which is one of my larger decks. This is the Albano 8, because I've been using this. It's funny how decks do this. They just sort of... The Albano 8 was my go-to for a few years. I haven't used it since, and then suddenly it's like the one I'm working with. The Tarot de Saint Croix and this are like the two I'm working with most at the moment. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I love this idea. I think it's really cool. I love the combination of cards and charms. I like the spread cloth a lot, aside from I may actually find a heavier piece of like muslin or even canvas, and like do an iron transfer or an iron, what's it called? It's like a no-sew thing, and iron this to something heavier so that it doesn't get caught up and lifted quite as easily. But I really, really love this. It was a great workshop, but even if you haven't been to the workshop, the concept is really great. I'm just thinking about decks that would look really nice with this. Actually, I think I have an idea. Let me pull Frankie away for a hot second. This deck is so interesting. You know, I'm not really a Rider-Waite-Smith reader generally. I tend to, when I'm using pictorial decks, I'm often using ones that aren't Rider-Waite-Smith or that differ from it. But there are times where I just, you know, really, really dig it. And I'm digging this one right now. I don't want to get tangled up. Hold on one sec. So I think this would look really cool with this spread. This is the Neoclassico from Il Meneghello, and I feel like the coloration and the style would look really dope. Yeah, look at that. That's cool. I like that a lot. And then, you know, again, you can... And these cards are a little smaller, so you could make them around the wheel a little more easily. You know, and Carrie said she probably wouldn't read every part of the wheel if she were doing a reading, but depending on things you want to focus on. So you could draw cards just for things inspired by the reading, you know what I mean? Like if you found that there was something in the reading that was something you really need to nurture, you have nurture there, so you could, you know, you could just draw cards inspired by that rather than going all the way around. But it's a really cool idea, and I'm always interested in different and fun divination tools and techniques. So this is one I definitely appreciate. So this is the Milagro Oracle by Carrie Paris, and if you're interested in her work, she's actually doing a class for Ethne's summer school for the Tarot Academy, and there's a separate kit that she's put together specifically for that class, which you can also order. I imagine somewhat similar in ways to this, probably a different spread cloth. She's had some really interesting things over the year that I've missed out on. There was a thing called the True North Oracle, which my friend Liz did a reading for me with, and I really liked it. And they only made 100 of them, and it sold out. And I said to her at Reader's Studio, if you ever make that again, like, I know there are people out there, including me, who would want it. I thought it was a brilliant system. I loved the combination. That actually was charms and a spread cloth and a set of cards that were all working together specifically, and I thought it was genius. So anyway, I'm really excited about this, and I think it's really cool, and I hope this was a fun little quick sort of breathless walkthrough of the Milagro Oracle by Carrie Paris. Hope you're well.